Let's see if this works. We are seeing if it works. Is it working? People, let me know out there if it's working. Okay. I'm going to give everybody just a little bit of a moment to go ahead and get signed in, get yourself comfortable, make sure you got yourself your sandwiches and various beverages, whatever it is that you so do choose. And we will get started here in a minute. So let's go ahead and see who all is joining us for today. All right, that window's not going to work, so I'm going to go ahead and close that out. Sorry about that. All right, so if anybody has any, well, obviously you already read the title and what exactly this is about. So this is going to be about referrals in real estate for anybody out there that can always use more referrals. So whether you're just starting out or an established agent that's been at this for a while, I know everybody could use more referrals, although sometimes that pool runs dry, so what do you do then? That's what I'll be going over with my own marketing expertise and going from there. So if you have any questions, feel free to type them in and let me know what they are. I'd be more than happy to answer them to the best of my abilities. Just a small little thing I wanted to go over real quick before we actually get started is that I've noticed that there have been quite a few people out there that have been using bots, and I would highly recommend that you do not do this. Well, it's not that I don't recommend it. It's a double-edged sword. You have to be really, really careful. And there have been some agents that I've been talking to that have stated that, oh no, I use only white hat techniques for SEO and and I'm going, oh, okay, well, what are you doing? Oh, I'm using this little bot that can automatically give me 1,000 followers. I'm like, hold on there. Hold on. Okay, so let me make sure that I got this correct. Okay, so you're using a bot to collect followers. Okay, do you know how many bots are on Instagram right now that are doing the same exact thing? And do you know if any of those followers are real or not? The answer is no. A lot of times people will run the same black hat or gray hat techniques to gain followers as well as likes and all those other things. There's a simpler method to do this that will result in more real people following you instead of bots. So, but that's a completely other post in and of its right, in which case I will go over within the next few weeks. So keep an eye out to see when I'll be posting about that. But just be careful if you decide to take that route, because Instagram has gotten really, really clever about identifying those bots. Facebook even more so. So just be on the lookout, be careful for that, because nothing beats actual social interaction, and I put that in quotes, with other people on social media. So just keep that in mind as you're moving forward in your own, if you're looking to move forward in your own experience. So, all right, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So, referrals. Everybody knows about them. Everybody needs them. So what do you do to get them and make sure that they go to you and not your competition? That's what I'll be going over today. The most important things for you to remember, the most important things for you to get out of this is that you need to employ a few different strategies. You need to have the content marketing down, which content marketing is essentially, to put it down in its grossest, most general of terms, are things such as blog posts, videos, podcasts, even things like that that cover a specific topic that is either catering to your niche or that is helping out another agent or helping out buyers, sellers, investors, people like that in some way, shape, or form. Now, it can't be the same old cookie cutter type stuff that you see a lot of times, because it's going to get drowned out in all the noise and everyone's just going to ignore you. So, but just make sure that if and when you decide to do content marketing, is that it's something that people will find useful. That is the key here. And make sure that it at least has somewhat of a unique air going on for it. The second thing that I recommend is referral marketing. I will go into this at a greater length, but just know that this is something that Realty Partners does, as well as Keller Williams, EXP, and some of these other major virtual brokerages, wherein they essentially recruit other people via via word of mouth to spread the word about their own business. So like I said, Realty Partners does this. We actually have a lot of different little things that go into it. If you're interested, go to joinrealtypartners.com. It's all in there, and I would not do it justice if I were to talk about it right now. But referral marketing, that's also something that you want to go ahead and do, and I will further break it down further into this conversation. And then on top of that, apply your growth hacking tactics. Now, remember that one book that I told you guys about last week, or at least a few weeks ago? I finally finished it. I know, for me to finish a book, but at the same time, remember this book. I keep pushing it because it's really good. It's got some years onto it, but the tactics are still true, and it's got some real world examples in there on how you can apply the same referral marketing, but with very little cost involved. I'll go over those as well. So between content marketing, referral marketing, as well as using your own sphere of influence, those are the three things that I would say to use to your referral advantage. Now, I'm pretty sure everybody's going, well, duh, of course. I mean, but here's the thing. There are a lot of little nuances that are in between the lines, so to say, of what you need to know regarding these things. I'm going to go ahead and get into that a little bit. So a few things that you need to know first about the content marketing, and, well, of course, I forgot about this. I apologize. My ADD makes me go off way into left field, and I have to constantly bring it back. But the thing about this is that a lot of times word of mouth is going to be the most important asset to you, but you have to make a name for yourself first. But all that you need is that one person that's going to be your advocate. And that's essentially what referral marketing is to gather your advocates in a broad range to make sure that your name gets out there above anybody else. This is going to take some outgoing nature. This is going to take a little bit of extroversion, but it's nothing that's going to hurt you, I promise. So, but either way, now that that's done, the word of mouth possibilities can be further exponential, or can be exponentially furthered if you employ these few tactics. So you increase that by, of course, content marketing, which is your blogs, your videos. But the thing about it is that you can go ahead and build it, but at the same time, you can't just sit there and wait for other people to go ahead and come over to you and be like, oh, look at this great thing. It's like that's essentially waiting for a fox to come over when you put a little slice of rabbit in a bear trap or something along those lines. You're going to be waiting a very, very long time. Or you can go out and put more little rabbits in other places in order to catch that fox. Which do you think is going to be more effective? Broadening that range. And what I mean by that, though, is putting your content in many different places throughout the internet. So go ahead and put that on YouTube, on Facebook, on Snapchat, Instagram, Pinterest, all those other guys. There are a few other services that I would recommend using in order to get your word out there. Twitter is especially helpful when it comes to this, and I say this because I've actually gotten a few very important mentions and about 30 new followers in the span of 3 days because I made shout outs to people that I cited on Twitter and said, hey, I wrote this really neat article. You should go ahead and check it out. And they said, oh yeah, it's really neat. Or actually, I tweeted to Blue Ocean Theory. I remember talking about this either a week or two ago, and they said, well, you kind of sort of got this wrong. And I'm going, oh, okay, that actually helps me out to learn your method better so I can go ahead and be your advocate to people out there. You see how this is working out, right? So content marketing, tag the people that you're citing in there, and just utilize that. Okay, so a lot of people have come up to me as well and said, I'm just really not that in the video. I'm just really not. I don't think I'm photogenic. There is an alternative, but it's not as great as video is. You can always take the podcast route, which is another way for you to get your knowledge out there. There is a place, or there is something called Podbean.com, and I will go ahead and forward the screen over there really quickly so I can take a look at it. These people are a free podcasting service. You can essentially start your own podcast for free. I believe there are certain pay grades to where you could pay for more features and whatnot. But the base rate is free. You could go ahead and get started and work from there. Like I said, this is not as good as video is going to be, but it'll put your name out there. There are several real estate agents that are out there that are utilizing this tactic. There's actually one of the podcasts that was recommended to me is Real Estate Uncensored. These guys, they have dirty mouths, but they are entertaining in the way that they present certain information about the real estate market. So again, it's great. And you could be that next person to where people tune in and they listen to what you have, especially if they're on their way to work, because podcasts are the new big deal. You would go ahead and push that as well. All right, so enough about content marketing because I could talk about it for ages. So, but you're here for referral marketing. That's what you're here for. And let me go ahead and show you this graphic over here. Here is why you want to go ahead and employ a referral marketing strategy. As you can see, let's see, word of mouth amplifies the effect of paid media by 15%. And people are, because of word of mouth, everybody, well, okay, let's rewind. When you're looking for some place to go, who do you consult first? You consult your friends, your family to see where they went or what they did to solve a specific problem that you have. Especially if you're new in town. I mean, before the advent of the internet, how did you get a hold, or how did you manage to find any sort of doctors, hairstylists, things like that? You went ahead and asked around. And it's still a very valid form of advertising. If you're the best for this person, they're going to go ahead and be your advocate to spread that word around. That's what you do. The first and foremost step of referral marketing is to be the best that you can damn be. That's the most important thing. But looking over at this graphic, nope, wrong way. There we go. Over here. Look at that graphic. Hearing someone else talk about a different company, it increases trust to them. It creates more sales for you. It's another type of tool for you to use in your marketing strategy. And not to mention, it can help, or it does help, to provide influential advertising. As a lot of marketers know, Instagram influencers are actually going to be the next biggest thing to happen. So a lot of people around my age, for example, especially in real estate, they're going to be looking for people that are Instagram influencers or influencers of some kind in order to make their decisions about who their realtor is going to be. You have to keep that in mind and keep up with those. So if you can make yourself stand out above the competition, and stand up from everybody else, then that will work in your favor. And then being labeled an influencer is actually kind of a high honor nowadays. So that's the kind of title that you want to go for. It tells everybody that you're trustworthy, that you know what you're talking about, that you're credible. And that, especially to people like me, aka the 33% of all new first-time home buyers, are going to be interested in hearing about that. They're not going to be interested in other sorts of things. I mean, sure, you've made $1 billion in the past, or gross whatever in the past year, whoop-de-doo, but how do you work out with everyone else? What do you know about the neighborhood that I'm going into, or the neighborhood that I'm interested in? Or would you recommend some other place to go? Is this a bad part of town? Is this a great part of town? Should I avoid that restaurant over there? Any of these random questions are going to pop up, and you as an influencer can help to make those decisions for people and where they want to live. That is insurmountably helpful. So that's just something to keep in mind. By the way, I got this off of referralrock.com. These are people that help to break down a list of referral marketing programs that you can utilize within your own business as well. Another thing that they said to go ahead and employ was a sort of incentive program. So this is pretty much, this here is a list of just about whatever it is that you can offer, how to do all that, cost comparisons of different referral software that you can use. I messed around with a free one just to see what would happen, and it turned out to be pretty interesting. So you don't necessarily have to go with a paid one, but these are going to be helpful when gathering those new leads or those new referrals and other things like that. So let's see here. In terms of referral marketing, you might want to consider giving some type of incentive for people to give out those referrals. This is especially towards your clients. If you go ahead and say, hey, Susie, guess what? If you refer 2 people to me, I will give you a $5 gift card to TGI Fridays or something like that. And they don't necessarily have to be great leads, because here's the thing is that if you discourage people from giving you leads, if you say, oh, these people weren't, these people didn't really do anything about it, then they're going to be less inclined to forward people to you because they don't know exactly what it is that you want or how you qualify those leads or anything like that. Now, this is to encourage people around you to send people to you. Like I said, this doesn't necessarily have to mean that every lead that they turn in turns into someone that essentially uses you for your services. So again, you don't want to discourage people from referring others to you, and having that incentive, whether it turns out good or not, could work well in your favor. And it doesn't even have to be like, oh, give me 2 referrals and you get a $5 gift card. It could be as simple as a thank you note or something along those lines. In fact, there's a lot of cheap stationery out there that you can use to make that possible. I mean, it only costs you maybe what, 50 cents to $1 to send a card nowadays just to say thank you for the referral, even though it didn't really pan out. That's okay. I appreciate your input. There we go. Your input into my business. Your advocacy is very much appreciated. That's the message that you want to send. Being gracious, being thankful, and I guess all those other adjectives that you want to go ahead and use. People like to be thanked. They like to be acknowledged. And so go ahead and feed that need for them. I mean, you're involved in the community. You're involved in the world around you. You might as well make sure that the people that you surround yourself with, aka your advocates, are going to continue to be advocating for you. So for anybody that's intrigued in cheap stationery, I found a few interesting places that might work well for your intents and purposes. There's these people right here. Again, look at this. They got some for about, well, that's the equivalent of about $3.50, something like that. Again, you can just get something cheap. You could get something easy. This over here is creativeboom.com. And these people give 22 different websites to where you can find different stationery just to send to people in exchange for referring people to you. So you don't have to offer them some sort of monetary incentive or anything like that. It can be as simple as a one-page thank you card. That's honestly what I would suggest in order to get people to remain on the top of their minds. Because your job as a realtor, you're running your own business. Your job is to make sure that you are the first person that they think of whenever someone says to them, oh, hey, I'm thinking about moving from Minnesota down to Florida because, screw the cold. I don't like this anymore. Wouldn't you rather have someone that is willing to think of you first rather than say, Debbie was, I've been sending her a lot of referrals and she just hasn't been taking them. Don't know if Debbie would appreciate this. Maybe I don't know. Maybe Sam would be the better choice. That you want to avoid that completely. So, oh, okay. I was like, David, who's David? No, I'm just now seeing the comments over here. So welcome everybody to all those that are watching. Again, I appreciate you popping in and piping in. So it is very much appreciated for your participation. Let's have a look-see here. David, who's David? Let's not do that. Okay, so going back to this over here, it could be just as simple as a thank you note just to send it out. Here's another thing that I noticed. I think this is just a very good point. Well, wait, hold on. We'll wait till the very end for that. Let's go back to over here. So another thing that I wanted to go ahead and imply was, okay, so we've already gone over that. Okay, so here's the thing about this is that a lot of times with referrals is that a lot of people just tend to ignore other methods that they should take. So here's the thing about them. This is off of neilpatel.com for anybody who's curious, is that a lot of the tactics I'm saying and a lot of different people are using these growth hacking tactics to further widen their base. So it's a mixture of, let's go back over here. It's a mixture of the creative marketing, experiments and data, and then automation and engineering. So with referral marketing, it falls into that as well. Hotmail is one example that followed this to a to a massive degree. Hotmail back in the, what was it, mid-90s, I want to say, something like that. It was something very, very simple. What they did was that they added just a little tagline at the end of everybody's email signature that says, hey, I love you. You should get your own Hotmail account. And that spread like wildfire. So you need to think about what tactic like that you can use in order to get your name out there as well. And the referral marketing, which is essentially what Hotmail did, whenever someone sent a message, they referred this person over to get an email address with Hotmail, and so on and so forth. So that is something that you want to go ahead and employ in your own marketing efforts as well. Figure out what people want to know. What can you give them that they are going to crave? Now, for a real estate agent, perhaps you could say, you could hold a contest. You could say, for the people that give me the most referrals by the end of January gets a free t-shirt or something like that that has a magnificent little saying on it. I don't know. Let's just type in funny t-shirts over here. Yeah, keep them clean. Oh, nope. Yeah, some of these are funny. So just keep that in mind. It could be something as simple as that. For the person that has the most referrals or that brought you the most people at the end of the month gets a free t-shirt. Now, mind you, here's the problem with that, is that some people they can be nefarious, and they could just be putting people over to you just to get that shirt, which I don't know, some people do. Just be wary of that, and it does happen, so just know who your people are. This is where CRM comes in. So that's where you want to keep track of everyone that you have contact with. Real Estate Express actually did something that was very interesting about that, where they said that in order to get the best referrals, you could do it in a 1, 2, 3 type of system. So, and what that means is that for level 1 refers, that's like your really close family, your friends, your past clients, things like that. So those are the people that you want to remain on top of their minds, because they're going to be your greatest advocates. Those are the ones that you want to nurture the most, because they're going to be the ones to sing your praises no matter where you are. Level 2 are kind of like the, yeah, okay, we like you, and you're neat, and you're cool, but they're not necessarily the whole, I love this person type of thing. They're kind of like the, yeah, I like them, and they're nice, and they're good. So you still want to nurture those people. You still want to make sure that you're on the top of their mind as well. That could be as simple as a text or a phone call. Yes, I've heard of realtors doing text now instead of actual phone calls. It's because a lot of people around my age especially, I know that's just what we're doing. A lot of people actually are employing the text method instead of calling. Just a simple text saying, oh, hey, how are things over at your place? Last time we talked, you said something about, I don't know, moving banks to whatever place. How's that going? It's just something as simple as that. So, and because a lot of people, calling someone at a very odd time is happening a lot. And especially for people of my generation, we're always moving, we're always going, we're always doing something. And whenever I get a phone call, it better be quick, and it better be simple, and something better be on fire. So that's just how I feel about phone calls. So it's just what I feel. So a text message actually could be a little bit less invasive, and I would be more likely to respond. If someone calls me and says, oh, hey, just wanted to catch up, don't care. So text messaging or emails might be best suited. You could even use a different type of email video service to keep touch with those people. You can even put a video of yourself in an email that says, hey, so-and-so, how are you doing? It's been a long time since we last chatted, just checking in to see how you're doing. Last time you mentioned yada, 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 and brahma llama, and let me know how you're doing. Close case. They will get that. They'll be like, oh, okay. Make sure you put captions, and make sure you put those on as well. Let's see, what time am I at? Okay. So that's just something to keep in mind, is to employ text messaging and email more often than phone calls. Yes, I know it's tedious, but save the phone calls for people on your level 1. Level 2, you can do text and email. Level 3 is when they're going, I know you exist. That's about it. Yeah. In which case, you still want to nurture those leads, but you don't want to come as hard onto them as you would your level 1s or your level 2s. So your level 3s are just kind of like meandering around, just going, yeah, okay, this is neat, yeah, no, cool, whatever. But it's your job to make them up to level 2s and level 1s. So these are the people that you want to build up to. I wouldn't necessarily say take a level 3 out to lunch immediately. I would say go ahead and get a few email conversations in there first and then kind of add them up. It's kind of like dating when you really think about it. Another thing that, oh, sorry, I forgot about this. The most important thing about it, though, once you get your CRM and you get your database rolling in terms of your clients and whatnot, you want to keep that data rolling. You want to see where the points are. What are your past clients complaining about? What are future clients complaining about? Know their pain points and go and try to solve that issue for them. What is the one thing that they are saying is a big problem that you can go ahead and fix? Everybody's got their skill set. Everybody has their good points. What are your good points that match up with them, or how can you create them to a point of where your creativity solves that for them? That's what you need to go ahead and think about. And once you got to keep gathering that data. You got to keep gathering all those details about people, what makes them tick. And mind you, everybody is an individual, but there are certain commonalities that you can go ahead and figure out how those dots connect. That's where the data science comes in. But surveys are really important when it comes to this, especially when you utilize that. Typeform, let me go ahead and look up Typeform for you all really quick. Typeform is a type of service that I actually did use for one of the businesses that I was doing other work for back in the day. Let me go ahead and switch the screen here. So this is Typeform. Typeform is essentially like SurveyMonkey, but it's a little bit easy. To me, it's more aesthetically pleasing. So you can go ahead and sign up. You got all these different, see examples. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. So customer feedback. So just for example, you see what I'm saying? It's a little bit more, to me, it's a better UI experience, or better UX, I apologize. So how would you rate your store, yada, yada, so this is just a tool that you can apply, that you can send out to the rest of your database to see what it is that they are looking for, that you can do better and that you can improve on, because your goal is to make the best product that everybody will want to use, and that's going to be your services as a realtor. That's something you got to keep in mind. Another thing that I would recommend that you do is to go ahead and think about client appreciation events. Those can be helpful as well. I saw that one of our realtors over at Realty Partners, Camille Cash, actually put on a client appreciation event not too terribly long ago, and judging by the pictures, she had a great turnout. This is a great way to keep in touch with your own customer base, and it shows them that you care. For anybody out there that has been snubbed by any customer service representative or another business owner, are you going to go back to them? Are you going to go back to the place which has snubbed you or written you off or done away with your business? No, you're not going to go back to those people because of what they did. So why would someone just go to you when you have not been trying to build that relationship with them? A lot of people will become discouraged and they will forget you. You do not want them to forget about you. You want them to keep coming to you. That is what you want. So that is something that you have to keep in mind. Keep up with the data science. Keep up with what people are trying to go for. And keep up with people that are on your level 1s. You want to stay on top of level 1s. Level 2s are important. Level 3s are important. But the level 1s are going to be your best advocates. That's something that you have to keep in mind as you're going forward. Let's see here. Okay. So another thing that I wanted to go over was getting in touch with past clients. That kind of goes hand in hand with the client appreciation events. So spend a little bit of time each and every day to keep in contact with those people. And if you're just starting out, keep in contact with your friends and your family and anybody that you've ever met ever, including networking events. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to try and pitch them or sell to them or anything along those lines. Just a very simple, hey, how's it going, would work out just as well. And again, if you're level 1s, go ahead and call them, see what's going on. Level 2s, maybe a text, maybe a small email, works out just fine. Level 3s, maybe an email, maybe a text. I would honestly email before anything else. I wouldn't necessarily go for the texts unless I already had some rapport with them, or if they're late and I need to know what's happening. So just keep that in mind as you're going forward. Spend a little bit of time every day, and remember that at the end of the conversation, go ahead and ask for the referral. Don't just ask for it straight out. That's a good way to kill yourself in the water, or to become dead in the water, so to say. Don't ask for it outright. Do not even ask for it even in the first try or even in the first contact. I mean, give it some time. It's kind of like a pot roast. You can't just be like, oh yeah, look, there it is in the oven. Oh, it should be done now. It's like, no, these things take time. A good stew takes time. A good wine takes time. And that is, it's being in real estate is not just about, it's not just about the money, it's about your time as well. How much time are you willing to put in to make sure that this works? And that right there, your networking and your customer relations and everything else along those lines are going to be what makes or breaks your business. I'm not even kidding with this, because you are providing a service for people. If you do not connect with people, you are guaranteed to fail. I think I actually wrote about this and vlogged about this back in mid-December, where there were 3 different ways to fail in real estate that was going to result in people failing the most. Because as a lot of you know, 87 to 95% of realtors quit within the first 2 to 5 years of them being in the business. Do you want to be that statistic? That's why you have to work on your network marketing. So I've already gone over that. Oh, excuse me. Okay. So again, go ahead and rank your people, rank where they are, and go from there. Get as many details as you can about them, whether through word of mouth of other people, social media, Google, things like that. Now, here's the good and the bad thing about social media is that you can find out a lot about people just by going on to their Facebook or their Twitter or something, or any social media, to figure out what it is that they're into, how you can start a conversation, and what you can do to continue a conversation in order to become empathetic and connect with them. You can find that all over the internet, and there are a lot of people that are not shy about sharing what it is that they're into. Figure that out and go for it, because that's going to be your connection. Okay, last and certainly not least, let's see, how am I doing on time? Okay. Last but not least, I wanted to go ahead and share with you exactly how to conduct a conversation. Here is the how-to, and this is quite important because not a lot of people, conversation is kind of a lost art, and it's more about how people just can't seem to connect with other people, or it's just hard for them to do this. I'm not 100% sure what it is that is keeping people from connecting on a level, whether it's due to a lack of practice or whether it's due to a lack of empathy. I'm not 100% certain. But the best way to go about this would be, okay, so suppose that you walk into a networking event, for example, and people are there, they're having a drink, they're talking. What you can first do is spot the person or people that are just by themselves. Honestly, it's a little bit nerve-wracking at first, but a lot of times at these networking events, you could just go walking up right up to a group and be like, hey, how's it going? My name is Joe, and I'm here. I'm the marketing specialist for Realty Partners. And they go, oh, that's neat. What do you do at your job? Oh, I work all the digital marketing and other types of marketing for this real estate firm. We're a startup and we're just getting off the ground. And it's really exciting news because we're expanding into Miami on February 6th and going along those lines. That's one way you could do it. The other way to do it is to go ahead and walk in next to someone who, say, is standing by themselves and make a comment. Just say, oh, yeah, or like, I don't like networking events either, because that kind of establishes a bit of a camaraderie. Now, if they come back and say, oh, I don't mind them that much, it's like, oh, really? What do you use to, or how do you make the best of a networking experience? Because then that's asking them for advice and makes them feel good, and then you could just go right along into that conversation. But make sure you have a conversation with who these people are, not just about their job. This is one thing that I've noticed at other networking events, is that they just go straight for the, oh, well, what do you do? And I think that's more of a cultural thing than anything else. I really don't think it's something that is that is fundamentally detrimental in our own characters. I think it's just cultural, and that's just what we're taught to ask. I would really like it if people were to stop doing this and making the job all about what the person is, as if saying, you're just your job and that's all you are. It's going, well, hold up, this is a person here, and they kind of need to, they need to be treated as such, not just as a marker for someone's business, or how can you use them for your gains. That's pretty much what you're saying when you go, oh, well, what do you do? That's just my personal input. I don't know about anybody else out there, but that's just me, and that's just how I feel about it. Anyways, moving right along aside from personal opinions, going back to the conversation, it's really important for you to keep asking open-ended questions. Those are the who, what, when, wheres, and hows. Stay away from yes or no questions, because it's just like, oh yeah, well, do you enjoy what's going on? Yeah. What do you like about it? See, now if you ask those types of questions, it'll get them to talk, and it'll get them to give a more detailed response, which you can use to springboard into another conversation. Also, be empathetic. Something like, oh, I can understand that. Can I tell you about my experience with something similar? And I use that term because instead of it becoming a contest of sorts, it then becomes an empathetic experience. It shows that you can connect with someone on that level, and taking the time to connect with someone will get you at the forefront of their minds faster. So again, not to mention, it just makes you a good person. It makes you a really, really good person to be saying, oh, I can really resound with that. I know exactly how that goes. And then you can extrapolate on your own experience. That just shows that you're freaking human. Be a human. Be human. It's just something that I noticed. And then once you've gotten to know them a little bit better, you could say, hey, mind if we trade cards? I'd love to have coffee with you sometime. It doesn't even have to be lunch. It doesn't have to be dinner. It could just be coffee. That's it. That's all. Because then it makes everybody feel safe, knowing that they can get out at any moment. I don't know. Personal experience? What are you talking about? But the most important thing to remember is to build that relationship, because you're not just getting a business relationship going here, you're getting a friendship going here, because friends are most likely to refer other friends, and we could all use more friends, especially in the world that's going on right now. I mean, I moved here back to Sarasota from Texas now over a year ago, and it's just from my going out there and talking with people and just making sure that I treat them as a person, they treat me as a person. That's how you get a friend. Everybody needs more friends. Well, I mean, unless you have 5,000 friends on Facebook, in which case, no, you probably need to lay off the friends button there. But again, it's about making those friends and remaining and making contact and keeping contact with those friends. Small note before I go, before you make contact with someone after they give you the card, make sure that you understand which mode of contact they prefer the most. Would they like a phone call? Would they like a text? Would they like an email? It doesn't hurt to ask. It's like, may I contact you via email or any one of those that I just mentioned? A lot of times they'll say, oh, text is the best way to reach me, or oh, email is the best way to reach me, and use their preferred mode of contact. It's not difficult, and it never hurts to ask. So that shows consideration on your part. All right, let's see if we have any comments going on right now. Give me a moment to figure out what it is that you all are talking about, because I don't have this open right now. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment below or make a funny face at me. I mean, either way, I like being entertained. Let's go ahead and take a look over here. Give me a moment. I apologize. Okay. Oh, okay. All right. I was going, David? David? Who's David? Okay. By the way, hi, Yami. Nice to know that you've been here the whole time, or at least for a lot of it. Okay. Well, I don't see any comments or questions or anything like that. So, again, if you do, or if you think of one later on, feel free to tweet at me. I am at Joe Realty I'm at Joe Realty Partner. That's my Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. I will be more than happy to respond. And again, you can find me on Facebook as well at Joe Faulkner. And I am responsible for the vast majority of the social media that is available on the internet. So you can contact me there as well. So thank you all for tuning in. I do appreciate everything that you do for me, you lovely people. Now get out there and sell some real estate. I'll see you all next week. Thanks for stopping by.